morning and welcome to Getting to Know Your Leaders. My name is Jennifer Hurley and I'm the chair of the Festival Management Committee, producers of the Toronto Caribbean Carnival.
And I am Michigan Crichton, the CEO.
And this morning we have with us Sharon Niles, band owner of Lux Carnival.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome, Sharon. Sharon, we were very excited to have you on this year as one of our new band leaders. You're also one of the few female band leaders that we have at the carnival. Congratulations on that. What made you want to be a band leader?
What prompted me to become a band leader was two things. I saw a need in the marketplace, especially when it came to kiddies, carnival. And I also saw a need in the marketplace when it came to the experience that most folks were having as it relates to the carnival as a whole. I want to preempt with just a small story as to why that was so important to
stories.
me. Oh, perfect. We had one individual who, everyone has these horror stories, especially growing pains as bands and so forth. And there was one individual that we were not able to get her costume. And we felt so like we took it personal. And it was really for me to make certain that that never happens again. But compounded on that was, in our haste to make sure that she was fully refunded and we did everything right, we refunded her twice. Now, in the carnival realm, most folks would have said, you know what, good for you. That's on you and so forth. But this individual, she actually returned it to us.
Wow.
And she returned it because she knew that we were working so hard to make sure that her experience wasn't compromised. And you know what? That's been a guiding principle for me since then, to make sure that our customers get what they deserve, to uphold the culture so that we can all be collectively proud. And that's really been the impetus as to why I wanted to be a band leader.
So tell me what's unique about your band.
Oh my goodness. We are outliers in every sense of the word. I think one of the things that really sets us apart from others is that we think outside the box. We go against the grain. We're not the conventional band, and we're really part of a niche market. Folks that come to us, they want more than just a costume. They want to understand the culture. They want to be part of a family, of a community. That's all folks had always said to us in all of our surveys. We're very innovative in using data, getting that feedback, understanding what the customer wants from us, and then that's what we deploy. So that was really a couple of the things that we thought was really important to us.
So tell me why you called your band Lux Carnival.
Oh, most folks, well, from inception, Lux always stood for loud, urban, and exceptional, right? That's really the essence of Carnival in my book. And as we've grown, and we've grown significantly, we brought on new team members. They've been doing so many innovative things. Then it was a matter of also leveling up the band to a part whereas now we are lavish, we're unique, and we give a different experience to the consumer. So when you come to Lux, right, we tend to go at least 2 or 3 layers deeper than the conventional norm. And that has actually worked for us in many, many areas.
Well, we saw that at your band launch.
Oh, thank you.
Your band launch, we both went to that, Michigan. It was very unique.
Beautiful.
Very different.
Yes.
Very different presentation from the other bands.
Yes.
It was done as a brunch.
Yes.
In a very posh, if I
Right.
can say that,
Yes.
environment. Was that deliberate?
That was very deliberate. And to be quite honest with you, that was the feedback that we got from our clientele, right? They just they know what Lux is about. We have a lot on our shoulders, but we think we're strong enough to lift the weight. So it was really a matter of be yourself. One of our leaders that was here before, that's what he said. Don't try to be anybody else. And I resonated with that because what we really tried to do in past experiences was to try to fit into the norm of the expectation, and it just wasn't working for us. So we went back to the round table. We kind of looked and we beat ourselves up tremendously. How can we mitigate the risk of what we've seen? We want to be 100% local wherever possible. right? From our designers, our sponsors who we support, who's supporting us, right? They're all Canadian based. And then we still also want to be Barbadian as well.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm going to have some questions about that for you.
No
but I know
worries.
Mishka has a question.
Well, you just literally said I wrote down on my paper Barbados because we keep talking about that this is Toronto Caribbean Carnival. And
Yes.
Toronto is special because Toronto has this beautiful diversity, and also the Caribbean. This carnival represents so much of the Caribbean. So I'm very happy and excited that you are kind of our Barbados representation. So just tell us what Barbados means to you. And I know you have part of the flag, the trident, incorporated in your logo. So just tell us a bit about that.
Yes, and then shout out to my graphic designer who actually came up with that logo in 2018. And it was really the maple leaf and the trident combined together because that's who we are as a people. And, you know, for me, Barbados is always home. I've been doing crop over for the past 6 years. So we understand the nuances of bringing a band. But obviously, Toronto is a lot newer and different in so many different varieties.
You mentioned Barbados, which I
Yes.
know is near and dear to your heart. And I also love that we're going to have that representation in our carnival now as one of the bands. So tell me about your logo.
Yes.
And I know you have the trident and the maple leaf as a part of your logo. And I mean, it says it all right there when you look at it, but tell me what it means to you and why you did that.
You know what? That's our brand equity right there, and that's our DNA. We are Bajan Canadian in every sense of the word. So even for our band launch weekend, we make certain that our customers also experience that. We had someone from Barbados, a cultural phenomenon, come in, actually do what's called his spinny cultural workout class. And so many people that were touched either by visiting Barbados or being Barbadian actually came out to that. And then we translated in, obviously, in our presentation. So our costumes actually has the trident being represented. Our theme is actually historical to Barbados. So those are the things that we figure we can bring to the marketplace. I know folks decided to go Greek and everything like that, but uniformly, we're Bajan at heart. And that's what we wanted to present.
I love it.
At your band launch, you had a very diverse crowd.
Yes.
And it's very representative of Barbados as well.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
You know what? One of the things that we heard about last year was bringing crop over to Toronto. And it wasn't just a matter of bringing Barbados to Toronto, but the essence of crop over. There's a lot of folks here that want to go home for Carnival and they're not able to do that, right? So they're always looking at it through the lens of someone else enjoying it. And what we as a band decided to do was to actually be part of the Toronto Caribbean Carnival and let them feel what they think that they might be missing, right? So they don't need to jump on a plane and so forth. Now they can actually enjoy crop over right here at home. And that is really what we're going to actually provide them for our 2023 presentation.
So I'm going to go.
I love it.
Yes, I'm going to go a little personal.
Yes.
Tell me about Barbados and why you love it.
Oh my goodness. So I grew up in Barbados, you know, shout out to the Garrison folks in Barbados. And why do I love Barbados? I came from very, very humble beginnings. And, you know, I know what it takes, because growing up in a village environment, you know, I've always been part of the culture. Didn't appreciate it when I was growing up, but boy, do I appreciate it now, because it really did make me who I am as an individual, what I'm looking to do as a leader in the mask arena, and also just bringing a little bit more to the table. So those little girls and little boys that are in the village and they don't really see, I don't want to say a way out, but they don't really see how being part of Carnival is a successful career path. I'm hoping that I can show them that.
I am going to say that I love Barbados. It is my favorite island other than Trinidad, where I'm from.
Of course.
I love Barbados. It seems to me it has a healing power.
Yes.
You know, I go to Accra Beach almost
Yes.
a few years, and whenever I go, I sit on the beach, and it's just serenity.
Wow.
It's beautiful, and we're so happy that we have you here as a
Thank
representative
you.
of our beautiful country.
Beautiful.
But tell me about your presentation this year.
Yes.
What is the theme, and what inspired you to do it?
The Lion of Gun Hill. So it's interesting. The Lion of Gun Hill, it plays in so many different areas. The first one is that we lost a very, very close team member to us, and he was a legend in himself. And because he was in the event planning stage, right, diamonds was always his thing. So it just pulled together that legend of diamonds was really something, and we played homage to him during our band launch because we felt it was important to always keep his legacy alive. And then, obviously, the Lion of Gun Hill is a historical monument in Barbados, and it tells a much more compelling story. Now, we thought that that was great, really, for our first year. But then there's also that other piece, right? And that other piece is obviously because we're doing special needs, one of our ambassadors is from Barbados. And her mom said, I want my daughter to be represented as a lioness because being someone with special needs and she's diagnosed with Rett syndrome, you know, her tolerance level and everything that they've gone through, you know, she truly is a lioness. So I was able to actually then take this one story and then tell so many other different layers of it. So I was really proud of that.
At your band launch, you had a presentation of a mother with children from special or a child with special needs, and it brought me to tears because I am a mother of children with special needs, and it is difficult to raise a child with special needs. However, that love that the mother portrayed on that screen was amazing. And it tells the story of the needs of our children to be involved in the carnival despite whatever special needs they may have. We need to be diverse not only in what we look like, but in what we're able to do on our abilities. And the fact that you took the time to bring a band that focuses on the special needs where these children have the love of our carnival but are not quite able to handle the sensory overload that comes with it,
Right.
but you found a way to incorporate them in any event. My hat's off to you.
Thank you.
I applaud you for doing that.
I sincerely appreciate it. And, you know, it was something that tugged on me because we are the first band. We should not have been the first band.
No.
You know, I just want to put that out there. And I do hope that some of my other band leaders, you know, join me in this journey because it's so important. I've learned so much in just a short amount of time from schools reaching out to say, you know what? Can I bring the kids over to your mass camp because they've never been represented before? From the mom reaching out to say, you know what? My daughter has not been in school since pre-COVID, right? And she just wants her to have a regular life. She's not even asking for anything over the top, right? So those things is really what propelled me to really focus in on special needs, understanding the sensory issues, but understanding too that they love noise.
Yes.
Right? So most
I
folks
can create noise.
and can create noise. Exactly. So most folks figure that you kind of have to put them in a cocoon and all this different stuff. But as we learn the journey, we're realizing now that we are doing so much more. And to really build on it, and this is something that I really want the FMC to be a part of, is that we partnered with Variety Village, one of the largest organizations here. And we will be, and even them, they said, you know, something we need to do more as well. So in June, we will actually be the activation called Dance Able. And it would all be carnival themed. And for 1,200 special needs kids to come in and to actually just embrace being part of the art of mass.
I love everything that you're saying because it is our duty and responsibility.
Yes.
Every child is our child.
Yes.
And I really, really believe that down in the deepest parts of my heart. So seeing what you're doing excites me because it just takes one person
I agree.
To do something, and then, you know, it starts the momentum. So
Right.
I'm excited to see what the Junior Carnival Parade is going to look like this year.
Yes.
And I'm excited about how we are going to be involved in making sure that our parade and our events are accessible to everybody.
Excellent.
And as the
I
chair of the
appreciate that.
FMC, I'm going to tell you that we will be involved in that Variety Village.
Dance
Excellent.
Table.
I
love
appreciate
Dance
that.
Table.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
May I ask you a fun question?
Yes.
If there was a crystal ball
Mhm.
that you could rub right now and ask any question, what would you ask this crystal ball? What do you want to know, or what do you want to see in your future that you could ask this crystal ball?
How can you have, in my crystal ball, it would be, how can the journey of Carnival be seamless?
It's not easy, right?
No, it's
There's
not.
challenges.
Yes.
Tell us about, I mean, we are setting up the framework or producing the events that
Yes.
take place during the festival, but you are creating the art.
Right.
But also there's a huge business component to
Yes.
a band. There is gigantic financial
Yes.
risks and maybe gains.
Right.
But then also there's this, you talked about the one person who didn't get the costume.
Yes.
There is this sense of responsibility
I
to your
agree.
people and your community.
Yes.
So tell me, in all of that craziness, what is the challenge that you feel that you've overcome or you are overcoming?
I think the biggest challenge that we've been able to overcome was our supply chain issues. And I've seen it with the biggest bands and the smallest band. And I want to put that out there that it's not just because it's a bigger band that they wouldn't have these issues, right? Smaller bands really come with a much closer knit community, and we can actually deliver just like any other band. So mitigating that risk was very, very big for me. And I took a whole year of pacing back and forth to understand how to mitigate that risk. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is that we're 100% local. Our costumes are not produced in China. Nothing wrong with that, right? When you get big, you obviously have to think about these dynamics. Our costumes are actually being produced by those that design the costumes. That has been a huge gap, whereas they used to have these eloquent designs and people buy into them, and then they cannot be reproduced or replicated. And then when the customer comes, that's a downfall. So those were the things that we actually focused in on really, really hard. We have our own production team. They understand their responsibility. And then ultimately, it's really a matter of transferring knowledge. So we tapped into the veterans of the Toronto Caribbean Carnival, folks that have been here for years. And we really leverage a lot of their knowledge for us going forward.
That brings me to my next question is, when I first met you, it was evident immediately that you had done your research. And it reminds me of our chair because she as well
Research.
did her research, and it's so important for you to do that, to understand the landscape, but also
Yes.
to be able to get help. But can you just tell me a little bit more? You said you took a year, but I know you've been
Yes.
you've been researching this for as long, I don't even know,
I agree.
back, right? So
Yes.
just tell me about that process of you becoming our new band for 2023 Lux
Yes.
Carnival. I'm so proud to say that. I want you to know.
Oh, thank you.
What was that journey like of doing the research, making sure you had your ducks in order, and feeling confident to say, I'm going to go in this room and I can convince these people that I'm the next one?
I wouldn't have done it had it not been for all of the journeys before, right? And sometimes failure is really what strengthens you. And, from doing crop over, we've seen so many different instances, whereas we could have done better. But the one thing that we had was our level of customer service to our masqueraders. The fact that they felt like if they were part of our family. Those were the DNAs that we didn't want to lose sight of. Now, on the other side of it was the business element, right? Understanding how you can get raw materials at a much reasonable price point, so that way you're not hitting your customer like over the top. So our costumes are very, very competitively priced because we don't hang our hat where we can't reach it. And I think that's one of the things that I've been seeing a lot with the mass, that folks tend to feel compelled to do all these big grand things. Then you're in the red, then you want to transfer that cost over to the consumer, and now it becomes something different. Carnival is something that everyone should be able to enjoy. It should not be an economic standard to say that only the elite can be part of it and not the average individual. So I don't ever want someone to come to me and say, you know what, this is all I have, and we're forced to reject them. Like that would never happen in our camp.
That is also a part of making the carnival accessible.
Yes.
And
Making sure it's
maybe
affordable.
helping with our uninvited guests.
Yes.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Our uninvited guests. That's that.
You know,
You know who you are.
And there are uninvited guests regardless of any carnival. It's not just, you know, Toronto Caribbean
Thanks
Carnival.
for saying that.
Yes, I just
because
wanted
I've
to
gone
make
to
certain that.
many carnivals, and
Yes.
the uninvited guest is a thing
Yes.
everywhere.
Always
in
are on
every single.
steroids.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
it is.
The
It is.
crazy thing about our carnival is that it is not a national event or festival in Canada.
Right.
When you go to Trinidad, when I'm in St. Vincent, if you go to Barbados,
Yes.
the entire country understands
Right.
that this is what's happening during this season, and people, you know, engage in it in many different ways.
Right.
Almost lost my pencil. And people engage in it many different ways, but here it's unique because, and that also brings us into a smaller area where we try to do everything.
Yes.
So there's so many challenges that the FMC that we deal with on our end to ensure that we have earlier you said something about you want it to be safe, and we want to make sure that the bands are able to, you know, do their thing. And my thing is fun and done.
Yes.
You know, I want it to be fun. And when I say done, I just mean, you know, that we get to the end of it and that
Yes.
everyone's safe. We have somebody on our team, Adrian, who's our the general manager of the festival, and he
Right.
always says that his most important moment is to wait until Sunday morning
Yes.
to look at the news and to just know that everybody's aunt, grandmother,
Right.
uncle, sister, brother, cousin, children
Yes.
got home safely.
Yes.
And the carnival, we can say proudly that it is a safe carnival, despite
is.
the perspective that people have. This carnival is very safe.
And we are doing many different things this year to make it safer,
Mm-hmm.
to make it comfortable for people to come and enjoy. Adrian, our general manager, has started this new process to have a security council present and supervising all of our safety measures. So we at the FMC are really trying to make this the best, safest carnival possible.
Yeah, I think we are trying to make sure that we have experts in the room when we do things.
Yes.
We're not just going to create our security plan
Mm-hmm.
and pass it over to the city, to the police, to emergency services, to the security companies. We're gathering them all in a room now, and people are volunteering their time. It's this carnival, it does belong also to the community of Toronto that is not Caribbean. They love it too.
Right.
And these people are volunteering their time to help us develop new strategies, to think about the things that have happened over the last 10 years and how do we make improvements and changes and develop that plan together.
Beautiful.
And I'm very excited to see how it's going to turn out this year. I know that people will feel and see a difference.
Excellent.
So thank you to the Toronto Police.
Yeah.
Sorry. So thank you to the Toronto Police Services. We really appreciate all of the help that you've been giving us over this past year. So we at the FMC have this Love and Legacy project.
Nice.
The Love and Legacy project is telling everyone of our love for the carnival, for the love of our city. And we ask ourselves, what I did when I became chair is I asked everyone to bring a picture of their loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I made them put it on a wall. And I said, what is the legacy that you would like to leave to these kids? What is the thing that you want them to see us doing as parents, as grandparents? What are the things that you want to leave as a legacy?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. You know, and obviously another story. You'll get a story out of Sharon
I
all
love
the
it.
time.
That's okay,
you
tell
know?
us the stories.
You know, when I received the amazing nomination to become a band with the organization, I received a call from Barbados, and it said one of two things. It says, you now have the right to wave that flag. and to wave it proudly.
I
And
literally
you
just
know,
got
Me
chills.
too.
yeah. And it was Sharon, I want you to think about the legacy of what Barbados used to be and where you can actually take it.
Mm.
And it was, and I, if I may, it really was around Gabby, which is one of our Calypsonians. And, the amazing way that he can story tell, right? From Bridgetown Market to some of his other works. So the legacy that I want to leave is pretty much a footprint similar to what Gabby has done with his music, his art form. It has never aged, right? It doesn't have a shelf life. Folks go back to it. So that's really something that I want Lux Carnival to actually have as a legacy, that we never age in the carnival.
Mm.
Because I do know that it's been a very, very long time since a Barbadian band has been part of a carnival. We know we have Barbadian section owners and we have great, amazing Barbadians here that have been doing such amazing work. But to actually cement themselves and be a band, that becomes something different. So my legacy is to raise that flag, raise it proudly, make certain that, that years to come, that we're still part of the conversation because we brought something to the table. So I hope I answer your question.
I'm
You
proud of
did
you.
beautifully.
Okay, excellent.
May I ask you something fun?
Yes.
Given the choice of anybody in the world,
Right.
who would you have as a dinner guest?
Oh my goodness. You know what? Well, I just kind of creeped on it. So yes, the mighty Gabby would have been an amazing dinner guest, right? But beyond that, I must say, not from the carnival space, but growing up in Brooklyn, I was also part of Malcolm X's communities and all of this different stuff. So Betty Shabazz played a huge, huge impact in me growing as a leader, me being an advocate for what I believe in. So if I had to have a dinner guest, I know she may not know much about carnival, but she definitely knew how to put forth and fight for what she believed in. I would definitely have her as my dinner guest, because I think that that would also cement a lot of things that, especially as a woman-owned business, that don't take it personal, fight through it. It is part of the norm, and then you actually have something now tangible that you can pass on as a legacy, and that's what Betty Shabazz has done for me, and I'm certain that I will do it for someone else.
I don't have anything to say. I also am feeling grateful and blessed about these conversations. To hear
Yes.
things like that, it impacts me
Right.
when I hear that.
Aw.
When I think about Betty
Yes.
and I go, these are people who have paved the way for all of us.
Yes.
And it's beautiful to be reminded of that.
Yes.
So thank you.
Who would you like to have this for dinner?
Okay, the last time I said my grandma, which for sure I still want it to be her. I love her so much. But, I'll just go with what came into my head really quickly. It was Aaliyah, the singer.
Oh,
that passed
fabulous.
away. Yeah,
yes.
when I was a teenager, I totally was enamored by her grace
Right.
and her effortless representation of love and kindness,
Right.
especially for someone who is an artist.
Right.
In this on this big platform and people looking at you. I just always thought she seemed so kind and loving. And
Beautiful.
that has even been a marker for me in my life, to be okay with being kind of a kind person, or
Right.
just, being a nut turn the other cheek type of person, that
Yes.
it's okay, these people exist. But I really looked up to her as a teenager. So, yeah, I would like to bring her back and have a chat and see what she thinks of our world now. And sorry,
She'll love your energy. That's
Yes.
for sure.
thank you.
There's a lady who did a film, and I apologize, I don't know her name. I do know her name, but I don't remember what it is right now. But she produced a documentary called Fire. She is an Indian lady
Right.
from India, and she does documentaries about women in India, and children in India, female children in India.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the documentaries was about this little girl who was a child bride,
Right.
and her story through that um, part of her life. And it brought me to tears. And I don't cry very often, but it really made me think about how it would be if you grew up in a different country.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying India's a wide, beautiful country that has many beautiful things,
I agree.
but she was telling the story about this part of India where this was a practice.
Right.
And
I was trying to look it up because I'm just so, I want
Well,
to go watch it.
Right, that's it.
I know she did one that was called Fire,
I-
and another one I can't remember the
Like
other one.
water or
Water,
another
yeah,
element,
yes,
right?
that's
Yes.
right. I would love to sit down and have a chat with her because
Mm.
you know my ancestors are from India,
Right.
and I know when I was looking at the documentary, I thought, what if
Yes.
my
Mhm.
ancestors did not get on that boat? Now, it
Right.
wasn't a very good experience coming down to and being an indentured servant
Mhm.
either.
Mhm.
But what if I was a girl and I grew up at that point in time? And how many other girls in the world in
Wow.
Afghanistan,
Yes.
in many other countries. So we
Mhm.
just have to see how lucky we are here
Yeah.
in
I
Toronto
agree.
and have all of these privileges, because that's
Mhm.
what they are, privileges of living in this society where we're respected, welcomed, and we can stand up as leaders of the FMC
Mhm.
and leaders of your own band.
Oh, thank you. I
And
appreciate
I
that.
think what's also so special is, at least from my perspective, you know, the word immigrant, you know, in our city, in our country, is a positive, beautiful word.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
we
Yes.
all, I was born here, but my parents were immigrants. The
Mhm.
both of you were born somewhere else.
Yes.
And it's so new,
Mhm.
our being here on this land. And that's also what makes me feel encouraged and hopeful, because I'm like, we've just barely, you know, people say Toronto is a baby city,
Yes.
you know, in terms of its growth. And this carnival too, while this is going to be our 56th year having the parade, it like dawned on me the other day. I'm like, wow, I feel like I was raised by this thing. Like I'm like one of the daughters of this carnival. And even just thinking about that, you also said you would like for the kids, you know, where you came from, and to know that this is a career path for you. I had no clue I was creating this career path,
Right.
or that I don't know if my mother knew.
Mhm.
In exposing me, in teaching me, in ingraining all of this in me, if we ever thought this will be your career path. And to be sitting here now, I only want to touch every single kid that comes in this carnival for them to understand that the future is huge and bright for you here too.
Yes. Yes.
Here too.
That's right. I mean, I'm a lawyer,
Yes.
and who would have thought that would have brought me to be the chair of the Toronto Carnival?
You know, who would I want to sit down with? There are two women that I would love to sit down with because obviously I started my journey growing up in Barbados, and there was an activist. Her name is Nellie Weeks. And Nellie Weeks, you know, she ran for office, but because of the time and the climate back in the early 1960s, obviously she did not win, but that did not stop her from being vocal and fighting for the rights of teachers and nurses. And even when she became an amputee, a double amputee, she still made certain her voice was as strong as anything. And then subsequent to that, on one side, I know Nellie would give me the strength to always be vocal. And then obviously growing up in Brooklyn and going to Medgar Evers College, I had the privilege of being under the leadership of Betty Shabazz and understanding what it really took, being an activist wife, but also Betty Shabazz was a doctor. She was a mother. You know, these are not things that were ever spoken about her, but she instilled a sense of pride in us that we walked with our head high, even in the climate of growing up in Crown Heights. So when I think about who I would love to have at a dinner table, just imagine if I had those two women.
Wow.
Oh, I would be a firehouse.
You are.
You are ready.
You
And,
are.
So our producer has just informed me that the lady's name is Deepa Mehta. She is the woman that I would like to have dinner with. And again, the documentaries that she produced were Earth, Fire, and Water, and it was amazing, amazing documentaries. And it's just the experience of other people who have amazing lives and that we can learn from them.
Yes.
So thank you, Sharon.
Appreciate it.
We could go on for hours
Yes.
with you, really. It's been an amazing evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharon, how can a masquerader reach out to you to be a masquerader in your band?
If you need to reach us, you can reach us at Lux Carnival on all of our social media platforms, LUS, which it stands for Lavish Unique Experiences. And because Eventbrite is our partner for this season, you can just type our names in and you would see all of our beautiful costumes, our packages, and just sign up.
Sharon, you've been a beautiful, engaging guest.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I thank you guys for having me.